Hey everybody, how you doing? How's your social distancing going? I hope it's going well. I hope you're not feeling distant or lonely or on your own. I know that many people are. So I've been working from home now. This is week 2 and the beginning of week 2. So not too long, right? I haven't been doing this for very long. Typically, I would work 1 day a week from home, but now it's every day. And same for many of you, right? So some of us can't, of course. There's lots of people outside. I just went out for a walk, and there's lots of people working on the street, construction and stuff like that. But many of us are doing this whole social distancing thing, which is good. From a first responder point of view, we kind of know it as shelter in place. It's kind of very similar, right? Basically, what we're doing is we're saying the safest place, the best place for us all to be right now is at home. And that's what we're doing. So, that's good. But it's weird, right? And we're not used to necessarily being at home so much. It's spring break right now, which is good. So the kids are home, can spend some time with them. But then also, we're used to being at work all day. They're not used to seeing us all day. So it's a bit weird, right? We're in isolation, although not really. So depending on what part of the world you're in, wherever you are when you're watching this, some places it's more than others, of course. So some places it's mandated, I know. Some places you'll actually get a fine if you go out right now, unless it's to buy food. So, and oh man, that's a whole other thing right now. So my wife just came back from Costco, and there's a lineup like down the block just to get into Costco. I don't know who in their right mind wants to go to Costco, let alone get in a lineup to go to Costco. But obviously lots of people, because there's a huge lineup. And so that's really interesting. So we're all at home. And so what I wanted to do in this video is go through what I've discovered in my week and a half of working from home, and share that with you in hopes that it can make your life more pleasurable as well, right? So, I kind of want to sneeze, but I don't. I'm kind of right in the middle of that. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. All right. So, have you seen what's going on in Italy? Like, Italy is just rocking this whole social distancing thing. Like, it's always the Italians, right, that do something amazing, that's kind of special or artistic or whatever. So I'm waiting for every other country to kind of step up and see what they can do. There's lots of videos on YouTube where they're singing from their balconies, and there was one where a guy brings his piano out, small piano, onto his balcony. That sounds kind of dangerous when I say it out loud, but anyway, he does that. And then just like one floor down, somebody brings their saxophone out and starts playing. How cool is that, right? I mean, I can't really do that here because I'm looking outside and there's no balconies. It's all kind of rural. I live just outside of the city, so there's not a lot of saxophones or pianos going on here. But it's still a cool idea. I'm sure there's something we could do of that nature to get the kind of the spirit of the community going. I would like to hope so. Anyway, but that's cool, right? We're making the best of it, and we're doing what we can. We're trying to be happy and supportive of everybody while we're having to go through this. So, I think that's pretty cool. So what can we do? For me personally, if I am at home and I'm just kind of plodding along, I will get cabin fever. And that's kind of what we're going to see with people working from home, is that concept of cabin fever. And cabin fever, if you haven't heard of it before, that's kind of when you're like a trapper or a fisherman or something like that, and you're in a small cabin for a long time, you start to get that kind of crazy going on. And so that's what we should expect, is we'll see some of that. And that can be difficult for your family, right? So if you're not used to being around each other for so long, I mean, yes, you love each other, yes, you're a family, but I'm sure there's going to be a little tension there, right? And so you got to work that out. You got to figure out, okay, so who's using the bathrooms at certain times, and get a process there. And so, sorry, I still want to sneeze. Anyway, it's the worst time to have to sneeze. Anyway, so what I would suggest is develop a plan or a routine. Maybe a routine is actually the better word for it. Develop a routine for your working at home, your social distancing. What does that mean exactly, right? And for me, if I write it down, that's even better, because now it's like it's formalized. If it's just in my head, I'm going to forget about it. I'm going to adapt it. Adapting is not necessarily bad, but you kind of want to evolve it for sure. But if you write it down, and it could be a bit of a schedule. So for me, I'm working from home. So my day is very busy, even though I'm not at the office. I have meetings all day, but then I'm also at home. So it has a little bit different element to it. If I'm at work, I'm probably going to go out for lunch. I'm probably going to be socializing with the people at the office. When I'm at home, I'm not. I'm also not commuting to work. So I'm not spending an hour for me driving each way. So I'm doing way more work than I ever did before, which is great. Very exciting for me. I'm getting tons of stuff done. I'm just burning through my emails and all that. So productivity levels are through the roof for me right now, which is great. I'm hitting on things that I haven't been able to look at for months. So I'm pretty happy about that. But having a plan for how I am going to do the things at home and work from home is important. So for example, what do I mean by that? So for me, I want to have a little bit of exercise every day. And so what I'll do maybe is when I break for lunch, I might have something to eat really quickly, bring it back and keep working, and then use some of that time to get on the exercise bike for 15 minutes and just blast 15 minutes on the exercise bike. And then I come back and I've got tons of energy. I'm feeling really good because not only do I feel good because all the endorphins are releasing and all that good stuff you get from exercise, but I know that I've done my exercise for the day. 15 minutes for me is minimum. I'm trying to say actually 20 minutes for me is minimum on the cardio, not every day, but almost every day. And because I'm getting older, so you got to exercise, right? Today I went out for a walk. I did about 40 minutes walk. And so that was good, but I like to get that done. And I'm not doing it early in the morning. I know some of you get up and you do it right away, which is cool, but I'm not a morning person, so that doesn't happen for me. So banging that out at lunch, right? Eating real quick or afterwards and doing that, part of my plan now. Also in the evening, I have a bit of a plan around other things I want to do as well. So I have new hobbies. I'm reading some new books, going through those things. So I want to carve out time for that as well, almost as if I'm at the office and I'm making my list of things I want to accomplish. Not all of them are for work, of course. Most of my day is for work, and I have that set up pretty well already. I have a good system for that. And that's my calendar. I have a to-do list. I have objectives for the day and for the week and for the month, and actually even for the year. They all tie together. So on the personal side, you can do that as well. Because you're working at home, because you're not commuting, now you have more time that you can use for stuff, productive stuff. And so I make a plan. What does that look like? And for you, it may be very simple or it may be very complicated, whatever you want to do. And then I also make a list. I love lists. That's what keeps me sane, is I have a bunch of to-do lists. I have a bunch of planning lists for different things. I have checklists, right? So when I pack and I'm going on a trip, I have a checklist of what I want to bring with me, depending on where I'm going. Lists for me are the greatest thing in the world. So maybe make some lists on, what do you want to eat that week? Or what do you want to sort of exercise you want to do? Things like that. And of course, that leads you into goal setting. What's your goal? We're stuck at home, right? Whether we like it or not, this is the situation. We're at home with our family. So there's a whole bunch of new things because of that, right? So you can set up a whole bunch of different goals to reflect what that looks like. So for me, for example, I want to burn through more of my books. I want to get more of that done. I want to do more studying. I want to learn more language skills, things like that. So there's that. Set some goals. So plan, lists, goals. I think those are great as a way to make a framework around what this is going to look like. Okay. Food. This is kind of cool because now we're at home. So I know there's crazy lineups to get food everywhere, and there's not a lot of food in the stores right now, where I am anyway, and probably where you are as well. So that's a little bit worrisome, but I wouldn't freak out about it because from what I understand, there's lots of supply. The borders are closing in lots of countries, mine included, but the trucks with the supplies are still coming through as of today. So the stores are getting replenished. It's not like they're going empty and staying empty. They're getting replenished over time. It's just the truckers can't keep up with our demand at the moment, is what I see. So maybe it's allergies. Maybe I have allergies because I still want to sneeze. Anyway, so there's that. So food, for me, it's really exciting because on the weekend, I'm going to make bread. And I love making bread. I love freshly made bread. I bought a lot of flour and yeast and stuff like that. So I'm going to make bread. So throughout the week, I'm going to make the bread that I made. I would never do that unless I was quarantined with, self-isolation, social distancing and isolation and all the stuff that we're talking about today. I never have time to do that. But this weekend, I'm going to find time to do that because I want to be snacking on something like that. And it's just that those are the sort of things that are now on my list. And I got a video over there on how to make a baguette, and the perfect baguette. I'm going to try that, right? So, things like that. Who would have ever done that? I would never have. So the other thing I'm looking at is what's my meal plan for the week. And not the reason I care about that is because I like to make big meals. A big thing of pasta, lasagna, stir fries, whatever it is. And if I think about my meal prep, then I can kind of plan the week and have those leftovers for lunch or maybe 2 dinners or whatever. And we have a pretty big family here, so I really didn't want to plan that out. So that's something you could think of as well. And now, since we're living in this crazy world of huge lineups at Costco and stores running out of toilet paper and what have you, it's probably not a bad idea to put extra thought into our planning. So the other reason I like to make bread right now is because I've got lots of flour, right? So, and I'm not going to run out of bread that I make. Bread that I buy, yeah, I'm going to run out of that. So I could make a bunch of bread. So I'm sorry, I'm just overly excited about that, obviously. So plan for food, what that's going to look like, how much I'm going to consume, how much I have left is another thing, right? So little inventory of how much food we have. I got a bunch of eggs because I eat a lot of eggs, but I'm going to only eat so many eggs per day, and I'm going to kind of ration myself a little bit. And that's what I often think about right now is the World War II rationing that my parents often spoke about, how they would do that. And we've never experienced that in our lifetime. So now I'm starting to live in a way that sort of lifestyle by saying, okay, I'm only going to eat 2 eggs a day and see how that goes. Because really, that should be fine. So that's what I'm doing. Same sort of thing with exercise. I'm actually getting more formalized because now I can't go to the gym. So what do? We got to work out at home. What does that look like, right? So how many days of the week am I going to exercise? What am I going to do during that exercise? I don't have a lot of equipment here. I actually, before this all happened, I went out and bought a big Olympic bar. It's a 45-pound bar, which was one of the best things that I ever bought for a home gym because you could put heavier weight on it and it kind of triggers that whole thing in your body. I find that for me, gives me much more energy. So I have a bike that I can pedal on, a stationary bike, which is great for cardio. If I don't want to go outside, I kind of like going out in the sun. So I do a little walk in the sun if I want to. If it's raining, I'm on the bike. But then I'll do either my big bar and I'll lift it up and do squats with it or overhead presses, which is great. Or I'll just do body weight exercises, which are totally fine and can give you a really good workout. So, those include push-ups, sit-ups, air squats. If you have anything that's of any weight, and that could be like your lunchbox or whatever, for the air squats, just put something in your hands and lift your hands above your head like that when you're doing this, when you're going down to do your squat, and you'll get a great shoulder workout as well as a leg workout, which is good. And just because you're only using body weight, just focus on your technique and do it very strictly to make, especially squats, because squats are so important that you do them right. But just do that and then do different varieties of it. If you're like, super killer at squats, do those pistol squats, right? One-legged squats if you're super good, right? Try that out. Yeah, so you could do that. You could break up your body parts per day. So you could do a little workout every day, a little 15, 20-minute blast per day if you want. Yeah, so you could do that. And then the other thing that I'm starting to do is chores. I'm doing chores now. Chores have come back. I haven't done chores since I was a kid. And so I actually have my kids doing chores now too, which is pretty good. Today they cleaned the bathtub, which was pretty amazing. They're good boys, super good boys. But yeah, so we're getting into the chores. So we're cleaning up the house, right? So I take about 15, 20 minutes every day and I'm like, okay, that's messy over there. Let's go clean it up. So yesterday we did a little vacuuming and just kind of breaking things up a little bit, right? So I find that's nice. Special projects around the house. So now I'm starting to look at things that I want to do in the evening. So I got a pool table in the other room. I don't play pool. So why do I have a pool table? I don't know. Came with the house. So at the time I saw the pool table and it was all nice and new. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. I'm going to be like a pool shark in a month. Never used it. I think I used it once and that was it. So I'm cleaning that area up. It's all dusty and gross. So I'm going to clean that up and organizing things, organizing the cupboards. So if you've got cupboards, everybody's got cupboards, right? Organize it, put stuff away. Maybe you want to reorganize it so it's more optimal and efficient. So you could do that. And if I run out of stuff, I'm going to look in the garage because I don't know about you, but my garage is like one big storage bin full of junk. And so I cannot even imagine the things I'm going to find in there that I don't want to find in there. So that's going to be the end game. If we're here for another 6 months, it'll be the garage, which I'm not looking forward to, but yeah, that's what I'll be doing. Okay. So chores, projects around the house, but a little warning there, right? So be careful. Don't be standing on a bunch of ladders. Don't be on the roof. Don't do any of those things that are high risk right now because we don't want to get hurt. We don't want you to fall down. We don't want you to break a bone. We don't want to get you sticking something in your eye or stepping on a nail. We don't want any of that. Why? Good question. Because we don't want to go to the hospital, right? We don't want to go see the doctor. We don't want to leave the house if we can help it, right? So yeah, so just be careful. You know, when we're cooking with hot oil, things like that, I'm extra careful. Just, you know, you don't have to be paranoid, but we want to be careful, right? So that's the main thing. So on those projects, I wouldn't be doing a lot of power tools necessarily. I would just be kind of playing it safe. I mean, each to their own ability, you know, mileage may vary, but just, you know, be careful, be reasonable, right? The other thing that I'm doing now is because it's spring has sprung. So I'm planting my garden and I got a bunch of little seedlings going. I got some egg cartons from all the eggs that I eat and I'm planting those seeds in there. So that takes 5 minutes out of my day. I go over there and it's kind of a nice little ritual. In the morning I get up and I do a little sprayer and I get them all wet. And it's like little pets I'm looking after, except they don't poop everywhere, which is perfect. And so I got that. And then at night, I spray them a little bit more and I put them out in the sun a little bit. And yeah, so that's good. And then I'm growing food that, you know, is good probably because if we still have these huge lineups at Costco, I can just go in my garden and eat some food rather than lining up with the 1,000 people at Costco to try to get some toilet paper. I would never want to do that. To me, that is like the epitome of something really bad. Just seems wrong to me. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like the $1.50 hot dogs every once in a while, once a year maybe, but that's it for me. That's the only thing that appeals to me about Costco, right? You're buying basically a whole bunch of something that you don't really need, and it's really not that good a brand anyway. So I don't get it. I'm like, okay, if you got a restaurant, sure. If you have a huge family, sure, I get it. Like you're basically feeding en masse. It's like built for people that feed armies. Yeah, okay, I get that. That makes sense. Sure. So garden, back to garden, back on track, Rob. You gotta catch me when I go off like that, okay? Just say, Rob, dial it in, okay? Thank you. So garden, yeah, great idea. Get some seeds, get that going. If you live in an apartment or a condo, you can still do it. Like you got windows, right? Get one of those like little greenhouse things, right? You can grow some like, I don't know, herbs maybe or something, right? Get that going. That's fun, right? It's like having those little goldfish, right? When you can't get the big tank, you just get the little tiny goldfish, right? So yeah, you can do that. It's still cool, still good. It's not going to feed you long, but yeah, still fun. All right, moving on. How about training, right? How about getting a little training in right now? So get to your plan, your goals, your list set up in there. Say, hey, I need some training. I need to learn. I need to get smarter, right? Good idea. I always need to get smarter. And so some of the things I'm looking at is, hey, maybe I want to learn more languages. I want to learn every language, but like I can't settle on one. So I learn like 5 words from every language, which probably isn't the best idea. So I'm doing that anyway. And yeah, there's a whole bunch of apps out there that you can use. I was trying Duolingo for a little while. I didn't really like it. I didn't really like it very much that much at all. So I'm trying some other ones now, and hopefully they'll be better. And I got some Pilsner, something like that on Audible, which I got that. I love Audible. I'm gonna talk about that too. So I'm doing that, and that's kind of like read along thing. It's Audible. It's not actually reading. So I got that. I'm studying to get another certification. So I'm doing some information security certification. So I'm studying for that a little bit. So, okay, I haven't started yet. I haven't started studying for that yet, but it's part of my plan. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. So yeah, I want to do that. So you could study, all right, in the evening. Everybody in the family might be studying for something, maybe, right? You could all get together, have a little study group, right? Do some of that. Let's see, what else would be fun? Hey, how about this one? Personal finance, right? You could start doing your personal finances, start looking at your taxes and your savings and your spending, and start to, categorize it. Maybe get a little app on the internet where you can put it all in there and have those little pie chart things, and then you can see who's spending all the money and where it's all going. You could do that. It might be fun, right? It's going to be informative, okay? It may not be fun, but it's definitely going to be informative, and it's probably going to help you with your budget. So there's that. And then there's, your personal time, right? How you want to spend that, how you want to carve that up, in the evenings and the weekends, and having that kind of regiment around, okay, what's that going to look like? So maybe you want a new hobby. That's something that, I'm starting to look at, get some new hobbies going, set time aside for that. I've got some books as well I want to finish. I'm not a big book reader, although there's a couple books that are not in audiobook format, which I'm going to read. One of those is, what's it called now? The Small Book on Art, or something like that. And I bought it when I was in Paris, when I was at one of the museums there. And it's great because it goes through the timeline of art, and it has pictures. I love pictures. If I'm going to read a book, I'm going to have pictures, okay? So it's got that, and I like it. It's because it's a small book. And then, but for me, a lot of my consumption that way is through audiobooks. And so for me, Audible is kind of where I go for that. And so you sign up and you pay like $10 or $15 a month, and you get 1 credit every month. And then that gives you a book, and then you can listen to that book as you're doing other stuff. So before, when I used to drive to work, I would play it, and then I would put it at like double speed, because for me, everybody tends to talk too slow. And well, not everybody, but some people reading those books too. So I would turn it to double speed, and then I could consume it faster, and I wouldn't lose patience. So that's something you could try. Having the ability to double speed stuff, or triple speed stuff even, to me is amazing. So there's that. You can check that out. Netflix, of course, everybody knows Netflix, so that's not a big surprise to you, obviously, right? But for entertainment, it's good. Netflix is getting better and better. So I'm watching it more and more. Spotify, if you're into music, that's another streaming service that I like. So my 3 go-to streaming services, really: Audible, Netflix, Spotify. And I know there's a bunch of kind of Netflix competitors out there as well, which some of my friends really like. And I'm sure they're good, but I like the content on Netflix right now, so I'm just staying with them for now. So, and we shouldn't forget, there's also, because you're at home more now, and so is the family, right? So either everybody's most people are at home, either because school's out, spring break, or it's school from home. Also, it's work from home for most of us, right? So everybody's at home. Well, that's a great time to actually plan some family events where you're actually getting together. And I know that it's dark days, and everybody's watching the news, and everybody's freaking out, and everybody's in the lineup to get into Costco to buy their $1.50 hot dogs and their toilet paper. But take a break from all that for a minute, because it's going to be there when you wake up. We could get something going here with the family, right? Sit down and maybe have a game together, or talk about, things that are on your mind, and just spend a little more family time, right? I think that this is a great opportunity for that. And so I would highly recommend thinking about that. And I guess the other thing to mention is, we've talked about your personal time. We've talked about family time, which I think is a great opportunity. There's also friends, right? So I'm not seeing any of my friends right now at all. So we want to still keep our friends close and still keep in touch, and see what's going on. And I talk to them actually on, on Twitter. We text each other and on the phone, but it's not in person. So one of the really cool things that I saw this week from my friend Elizabeth, who lives in Los Angeles, is they had this kind of virtual pub crawl. And Elizabeth, super smart idea. I don't know if it was actually her idea, probably her friend's idea, to be honest. But Elizabeth's really smart, so it could have been her idea. And she loves my videos as well. So she'll probably watch this and tell me it was her idea, I'm sure. But isn't that a great idea? So what they did, and I saw a little picture of this, was they all their friends got together. They got on I think it was a Zoom or one of those ones where it's like a video conferencing thing, and they all came in together. So it was like this checkerboard on the screen of everybody's face, and they're all drinking and talking and having a good time. So it's like a virtual party. I think we're going to see more of that, because to me that seemed, it seemed a bit silly at first. Granted, okay, it wasn't a night at the pub, okay, for sure. But at the same time, that's where we're at right now. I'm not going to the pub tonight, right? So that would be a cool way to see your friends, have a few beers together, and as you're starting to drink a few beers, I'm sure, it's going to get lively and fun, and you're probably going to have a good time. So if you've got access to something like that, and there's free ones out there, I think you can use Zoom for free. I'm not pushing Zoom, use whatever you've got. But, there's Google Hangouts, I think, for free. So if you've got a Google account, that's another option. But there's tons. There's probably like a dozen of them out there to use. So try that out. I thought that was a great idea. Good spirit, right? So there's that. So this working from home, this whole social distancing thing, for me, it's not that bad just yet. So, we'll see. We'll see. But I think we need to use it as an opportunity, right? Because that's really what it is. And if we view it as a terrible thing, then it will be. So it's kind of, I think, like many things, right? It's what you make of it. So I would encourage everybody to make this as positive an experience as possible. I know there's a lot of serious things going on, and those are always going to be there, right? And we need to have part of our mind thinking about that and be ready for that. And things could change and get worse, and that very well could happen. We may lose friends, we may lose family, and that's really sad. And I'm not demeaning that at all. It's that's not going to be good. But we need to make the best of the situation, and use it as an opportunity for us to all grow, and get better and better. So those are my thoughts. Take what you like of it, and I hope it's helpful to you. And I hope it brightens your day. All right. Safe travels, and see you soon.